vulnerability in healthy ways. So a theme that I notice with the guests that come here is that they don't like to be vulnerable. And the reason for that is because when they were vulnerable, they were severely disappointed. And that usually stems from childhood when we're all vulnerable. And as kids, we rely on adults and caregivers and other people to meet our needs. And a lot of us have a history of like that not happening. And so we shut down back then and we closed off to vulnerability and we avoid vulnerability. And now as adults, we're extra guarded because we've seen that there's these patterns and themes in our life that have proven to kind of be true, which is if I'm always getting hurt, I'm always getting abandoned, I don't really know how to connect with anybody, and I don't really know who I am completely. All I know is that I'm afraid to really connect with somebody and be intimate in ways that are appropriate, and also to let my guard down. So I go through life like this, and it's very upsetting because I can see other people around me, friends, family, coworkers, having these healthy relationships, at least it appears so. And I'm just like the one odd person out who's guarded, and, you know, my relationships always fail and I'm never really trust anybody, right? And there's all this kind of history. Like I said, a lot of that stems from childhood trauma. So what does it mean to be vulnerable in a healthy way? Well, what we're doing here at Rythmia is we're trying to create a really safe environment for people to do deep work. Now, back when I was working as a therapist in Los Angeles and working with trauma victims, and you know, these were adults usually. I did work with some kids, but mostly adults. And what I realized is that people needed years to feel safe from doing just a once a week sort of therapy session, because there's just so much time in between, you know, appointments that people just never really felt grounded and safe in those environments. So what's really, really cool about Rythmia is that there's so much work going on all day. There's classes, there's breath work, there's plant medicine, there's meditation, there's yoga, there's super healthy organic food and juices, there's body work, there's amazing stuff going on all day. So what that's allowing the guests to do is to slowly lower their guard and become open and connected. Now, why is that important? Like, why do I have to be open and connected, or why do I have to be vulnerable in healthy ways? Well, the reason is this. If you're holding on to a lot of trauma and a lot of emotion that's blocking you from actually connecting with people, you need to learn how to be vulnerable in ways that are safe. And if you seek to have a meaningful relationship and you maybe never really even have, or maybe you have a relationship now that's kind of okay, but you want it to go deeper, the way you can do that is to learn how to have trust and to build rapport first with yourself. And then you can engage in a way that's appropriate for the person you're with or the family members you're hanging out with or your friends. So what happens in a plant medicine session or a breathwork session, right? What happens in there? Well, what happens is that you go into a state of acceptance of self. You go into a state where you see who you've become, and you get to merge back with your true identity. And then you get to heal these past traumas that have happened. And you get all this emotional baggage lifted and removed from you. And what that does is it creates this new sort of awareness where you can then begin to trust people, because now you're not 5 years old going through trauma, right? Those are the historical emotions that you let go of and that were guiding your life, you know, for many years. Most of your life, it was childhood stuff that was dictating, you know, how you felt about everybody, including yourself. So that's gone. So now you're an assertive adult. You're not in a traumatic environment necessarily. You're not being abused or victimized. You're a healthy person who's probably successful and doing pretty well in life, but you just didn't have this ability to connect in a real way. But now it's changed. And now you can let your guard down. You can actually get to know somebody. You can show people who you really are, because now you're not in conflict with who you really are. You've resolved that by merging back with yourself and being connected and grounded and plugged into who you authentically are. And so the beauty of being vulnerable in a healthy way is it allows so much connection in it. It allows an authentic sort of experience that you can have with people that's really cool, because It's extremely difficult, and it's not part of the human nature to be isolated and alone. It's part of human nature, and also all mammals to some degree, to be in groups and to work together and to be a part of a family or a system or a tribe. And so in order to do that effectively, you have to be able to let go of some of the fear that you have surrounding your history based on trauma and based on disappointment and based on all the things you went through as a kid and a young adult. And so now, once you get all this cleared out through the process that we do at Rythmia, it's called the Rythmia way. The way we do it is very unique, and it's very effective, and it happens quickly. And the reason it happens quickly is because there's tons of support here. It's a very safe, medically licensed environment, and there's all kinds of amazing staff here to help support you and to point you in the right direction for your own healing. So why is vulnerability in a healthy way good? Because you can actually connect with yourself, and then you can actually have empathy and connect with other people in a meaningful way. So come down to Rythmia, check out how to do this. We all have trauma of some sort. Some of us have a lot, some of us have a middle amount, but everybody has some. And that's holding you back from really connecting with yourself and connecting with others. So I look forward to meeting you down here. Come to Rythmia in Costa Rica. It's a beautiful time of year. It's just amazing here. I look forward to meeting every single one of you. Pura vida. See you next week.